All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before I get started, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. To you I say shalom. This is the brother Yeshaya coming at you again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Back again with another lesson. This is gonna be a quick one. I'm not sure what I'm gonna entitle it, but pretty much just getting straight to the point. Gonna start off with Isaiah 13 and verse 6. And as you see the subheading, it says judgment on the day of the Lord. Right? Hold on. So it says judgment on the day of the Lord, and that's what we're seeing, man. Right? Judgment. What we're seeing as far as the plagues, the pestilences, all these, different calamities is about to befall America and the whole world. All this is judgment from Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. All right. But it says, and we're living in the end times. So all these things are just going to build up, ramp up, as Klaus Schwab said, right? Polycrises, right? Which is many crises at once, right? And that's what we're seeing. A lot of these things that's taking the world by storm, whether it's a famine, right? Whether it's, droughts, whether it's natural disasters, cyber attacks, uh, um, uh, currency devaluation, the economy collapsing, all various types of different crises that's going to affect these people to eventually crash this world, right? To where we're going to see another type of evil that we haven't seen, in these days and really in throughout history, right? These days that we're coming into is going to be worse than any point in history, all right? But let me read this. It says, Isaiah 13 and verse 6, it says, How ye, for the day of the Lord Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Right? And we understand that um, the ultimate form of destruction is going to be by the way of the ICBM missiles, which is going to take America, right? It's going to completely level this place out and turn it into a lake of fire, right? That's in Revelation 21 and 8, right? But this place is going to be completely decimated, all right? But verse 7, it says, Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. That's right, man. People are going to be weak. People are going to have no recourse as far as having some form of stability, having some form of hope. If you ain't um, tapped into this truth, first of all, you got to be an Israelite. Second of all, you got to be the elect, but you got to be tapped into this truth in order to withstand these evil days, right? Isaiah 33 and 6, wisdom and knowledge will be the stability of thy times and strength and salvation. Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai is his treasure, man. Right? So that that foundation that the elect are gonna have is what's gonna keep us sturdy, right? In these rigorous days, in these troublous, tumultuous times, man. Right? But it says, Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt, because they ain't gonna know what to do. They ain't gonna know what's happening, and especially those who ain't listening, those who disregard the prophets, call us kooks, call us crazy, right? We're seed theorists, you know, those people that view us in that light, that those are the people that's going to be caught up in this storm, caught up in these many multitude of evils that's about to befall the earth, right? And like I said, people are going to be faint. People are going to be, in a state of mourning for their loved ones, in a state of mourning for themselves, mourning what they lost, right? But it says, verse 8, and they shall be afraid, pains and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Right? Yeah, they're gonna be looking at each other with astonishment. They're gonna be looking at each other, as like, what are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? And they ain't gonna know what to do, right? That's why the reason why whenever you read Amos in the book of Amos, the 8th chapter, it talks about how, you know, once the famine of the word comes in, that people are going to be seeking out the prophets, seeking out, this truth. But by that time, it's going to be too late, right? They're gonna be wandering here, wandering there, trying to seek out the man of the Lord, trying to seek out answers, solutions to the problems that they're seeing, right? But they ain't gonna be no answers, right? They're gonna have to figure it out themselves, right? But it says, continuing on, verse 9, behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, right? It's gonna be a cruel day, man, because the Most High ain't sparing no one, right? He ain't a respecter of persons. He ain't gonna spare young or old, woman or man, right? He don't care. If you're wicked, you're going down. You're gonna die, right? The only people that he's preserving are the elect, those that are humbling themselves and getting themselves right before the face of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? Let me see. I want to get one real quick, because this is the reason why we tell our people, man, to get right. This is Romans 12:1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service. Right? So as an Israelite, your reasonable service is to serve Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Right? Give up this life. By that, I mean abstain from, the wickedness of this world. Stop with that, FOMO spirit, fear of missing out spirit. There ain't nothing here to miss out on, man. Everything here is going to lead you to a path of destruction, self-destruction, right? The Most High made us holy people. Holy meaning separate. We got to separate ourselves from this world, right? So I'm going to read this back. It says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, right, acceptable unto the Most High, which is your reasonable service, right? So you got to put away your aspirations, your dreams, of making it in this life, chasing the American dream, all that, that's a side mission. You shouldn't even be worried about that. The main mission is worried about your salvation, how you're going to make it into the chariots, right? Verse 2, and be not conformed to this world, right? Don't try to conform yourself, fit into this world, man. It says, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, right? So stop tapping into the worldly things. Start tapping into the spiritual things, right? Start tapping into this truth. And that's what's gonna, the more you tap into it, the more your mind starts to reconstruct itself, and the more you start to embody, the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, right? But that comes with practice. It comes with time. It comes with dedication. It comes with diligence, right? It comes with repetition. They say that repetition is the father of skill, right? So you continually practice this, and eventually, you're gonna see, how not just your life, but you yourself, will change. But it says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. Right? So that's the will of the Most High, right? To bring back his children, right? To bring back the elect close to him, right? Because destruction is coming, and the Most High is going to deliver his people, right? But only those, that are worthy. The scripture talk about how, as a matter of fact, let me see if I can find it real quick. Bear with me. Wisdom of Solomon 3:5, it says, and having been a little chastised, they shall be greatly rewarded, for the Most High proved them and found them worthy for himself. Right? So understand that when you're coming into this thing, you're going to be tested, right? So what is it, 2:1? My son, if thou come serve the Lord, prepare thyself for temptation. Prepare thy soul for temptation, right? As a matter of fact, let me see if I can get it. Sirach 2:1. Yeah, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation, set thy heart aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in the time of trouble. Right? So we understand that we're going to go through obstacles, we're going to go through things, right? But that's all a process to be accounted worthy in the eyes of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. As a matter of fact, verse 5, it says it. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. Right? So you're gonna have to go through something. You're gonna have to go through that challenge, through adversity. You know, it ain't gonna be no cakewalk. Right? But the point being is that we're gonna have to go through this in order to escape these times, in order to escape, the judgment that's being prepared. Right? Um, let's see. Let's get Sirach 5 and verse 7. It says, "Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day, for suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth." Right? And we're seeing that the Most High speeding up the time, so things is happening quick. Judgment is going to be handed out quicker even now. Right? So make no tarrying, man. Tomorrow isn't promised. As soon as you hear this word and it resonates with you, man, you gotta, make a move. You gotta start acting quick. Now's not the time, to dilly-dally, and procrastinate. But it says, "And in thy security thou shalt be destroyed, and perish in the day of vengeance." Nobody's going to be secure in these days, man. No matter how much money, no matter how much wealth, no matter how much resources, no matter how much food you stock up, no matter how many bunkers you got, it doesn't matter. Nobody is secure in these times that we're coming into, right? So you can get that out your mind. The only security that's going to be found is in the truth, man. Right? Having the Holy Spirit on you and supping with you, right? That's that hedge of protection. That hedge of protection is going to guide the elect through these evil days. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna get one more, and we'll close it out. Revelation 1 and verse 3. It says, "Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand." See, the time is at hand, man. We're living in the end times. This is it. But as it says, "Blessed is he that readeth, and heareth the words, of these prophecies, of this prophecy." Right? Understand that we're living in the end. Understand that now's not the time to conform yourself to this world, to start, try and tap into, the I guess the American dream, so to speak. Right? Trying to make it on this side. Right? Now's the time to detach, separate yourself. Right? Time to cleave onto Yahweh Shem Yahushai. America was always a trap for you jakes, man. It was created to keep you going off. Because they understand our power. They understand that if we continue to go off, our power will not fight for us. But if once we turn back to the Lord and call upon his name, right, and we get ourselves correct and get ourselves right, then the Most High will fight for us. And then all their snares, their traps won't work. You see? We'll come into that time where Esau is about to come down with that great wrath, and we're going to need divine intervention to protect us, man. Right? So tap into the Spirit, tap into Yahweh Shem Yahushai, because that's going to be your only way out. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close it out by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Meracha HaKwadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me the truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing his word by the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Until the next time, I'm going to say Shalom, Kwam Yashala.